we would like to be on the board, we might be the financial director, we might do certain other roles in that company, help them with strategy, etc. Because of our platform and the company that we operate, our business, we spend a lot of time not only in country, not only developing opportunities in the tech space, but also traveling globally. So we can often find partners or opportunities for these companies in other emerging markets and funding from developed markets. So that's when they join the platform, they join a platform that covers the US, Europe, Middle East, Asia, and the rest of Africa. So, and they don't have to get on a plane to do that. We do that. So that's part of our work.
So far so good. What's your assessment about government policy in the sector to enabling funding for, apart from banks, people are going to bank, for other private sectors?
But for us, I mean, today is a great dawn. I mean, it's a really, really strong day when, they're talking about local content in a new sector, having seen the success of local content in the oil and gas space. It's great to see that in ICT. So when government starts thinking in that way, it may take some time, but we'll get to the destination where Nigerian content is a significant factor. In terms of funding, the government has set up a number of different funds. Every government has its own priorities. Whether it's agriculture, it's up 300 billion naira fund. SMEs and was it power? Was it aviation? I can't remember which one the name of that fund. Yeah, 300 billion naira fund. Power has its own fund. So billion naira. Nollywood has a fund. Shorepay is doing certain interventions in certain sectors. The call today is that the government should maybe add ICT to that list and set aside a fund that is then managed by professional fund managers or creates multiple sub-funds as managed by some managers to create competition and to create growth in that sector. So today the government could set aside, I don't know, 50 billion or 150 billion naira fund, which is then broken into smaller, 5 or 10 billion naira bits, and then each fund manager now goes and raises their own funding, matches it, and invests it in the sector to develop people. These things should also bring in the education space. This is very important for us to bring in the education space. I visited a few universities in Nigeria and met students, met some of the deans, etc. And our universities are generating young people who are excited, energetic, diligent, but they just need direction and opportunity so that they understand how the energy should be spent in their adult life. You need to work in a firm to understand what work is. You can code by yourself, but if you didn't know that somebody will pay you X amount to make that little piece of code that will work on that thing, how would you know that you should be working on that code? Or that program or that software or that talent. And that's what we want to do. We also want to try and make sure that the ONC brings in Nigerian educational system and universities and colleges to now become members and now to become accredited, to now create the internships that the private sector can give to those students, now create the talent. So we now know, they know what we're looking for, we know what they're doing, etc., etc. It's important to tie everything together.
With that is to the assessment of some of the things we startups, some of the apps we have seen them develop.
Fantastic.
For instance, for Nollywood, for aviation, for hotels, we've seen them develop these apps. Are you excited by the enthusiasm exhibited by some of these SMEs?
Very excited, and the young coders, it's brilliant stuff. I mean, it's exactly the same as what you'll find in Silicon Valley, except they don't have the money. That's the same thing. You've got young kids coming out of universities. They need a bit of capital to sort of pursue their ideas. They need access to the market. They need mentoring. They need older people to sort of show them how it should be done. And I experienced that in my life, and it's something that we want to have an impact on in Nigeria. We're not just here to make money. That's not the core of the game. I mean, that's not the only portion of the game. Yeah, our fund has to make returns and provide solid returns to our investors, etc. But you want to have an impact domestically. You want to sort of create jobs, create peace. You can't have idle Nigerians sitting around doing nothing, watching the place in front of them develop.